What's up, guys? It's Caliber here.
And the Beast.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we're coming to talk about Christmas.
Christmas.
So I think the person who is more knowledgeable in that, which would, out of us three, would be Beast. So we're going to go ahead and let him start.
Again, happy holidays or whatever your custom are this year. It's an eye roll. I don't know that's all.
No. On this channel, we do not say happy holidays. On this channel, we say Merry fucking Christmas.
Well, I was trying to be somewhat PC. Merry Christmas. Anyway. So basically, I guess we could start off with like where the Beast came from, I guess. This is where we kind of want to go down that rabbit hole. As everybody's aware of, everybody knows it has pagan belief structures, and it came from that origin, from the holiday associated with the winter solstice, dating back to a celebration called Yule.
It's interesting because it's 4 days off. It's 4 days off the winter solstice.
Yeah, well, it's actually on the date that would have been the shortest day of the year within the where Norway and stuff is.
Yeah.
So the shortest day of the year, they have like I think it's like 2 to 4 hours of sunlight that day. Basically, it symbolizes in that time. It was a celebration of people coming together as like the whole the village would come together, the elders, the young men, the women, the children. They would basically everything they couldn't store within the winter, they would have a feast with, because obviously there was a certain amount they could store, but they didn't have the resources to store everything. So stuff that would normally go bad, they just basically made it up and made it a big a feast, and they would sing songs, merriment, and all that jazz. Big fires, drink, merriment. Also, a tradition on that day was kind of where the New Year's resolution kind of came from. Was they would also do a boar hunt, and the youngest and the strongest of the tribe would go out and they would hunt a boar, and they would bring it back and they'd pledge, like basically like to the village that they would withhold certain things, uphold the peace and all that stuff, and help out when they can and all that stuff. So it kind of was like a pledge on that. And they would roast a hog, and that's where basically like where our hams and all that stuff come from. That's why we indulge in the whole pork aspect as it is on Christmas.
I don't eat pork on Christmas. Why did that turn into a turkey?
Turkey is when in England it was a big tradition to have a goose. But when it came over to America, the goose kind of got switched out for the turkey, because it was at one point in time the turkey was actually in the running to be our national bird instead of the
national.
Huh?
Your national bird, right?
Yes. Yours is always
the goose is my national bird.
Right. Yours has always been the goose, right? But I'm saying in America, at one point Ben Franklin suggested it would have been a turkey. So I mean, the turkey was a big deal over here. So that's where the turkey comes from on the North American side, is because it was just a very popular feast bird, basically, or poultry dish. Where else can I go from there? I guess but I mean, what it is today, a lot of people get the concept of there's a miscommunication within Christian and non-Christian of today and stuff. What the problem is, they're arguing about saying that this is a pagan religion. There was nothing to do with Christianity. Yes and no. The original idea from the Roman Catholic Church that actually took the holiday and festival for itself never claimed it to be the birthday of Christ. They claimed it to be a celebration of the conception of the Lord through the dark times, and it was kind of like a ray of hope within the dark. Because winter back then was just treacherous. You didn't have like the heating we have today. It was just months on end of snow.
You
treacherous.
died of scurvy.
Exactly. So this was just, even from the very beginning, it's always just been a celebration of coming together as a people and getting through the hard times. That's where the joyous times come from, where you're supposed to, give to one another. That is the essence of Christmas, and I think that's the one base root that's never going to change, and I hope it never does, regardless of what everybody belief on the subject of Christmas is, or whatever Yule, whatever you want to call it. I hope that aspect always stays the same, as that general merriment and goodwill towards your fellow man kind of stays in there, because I think that's really the root of what the holiday's about. So,
well, that's what it's supposed to be, and now, it's kind of...
Well, they took there's a lot of aspects of the pagan remnants that are still around, like, obviously, there's no mention in the Christian text about a man riding around in a sleigh with 8 reindeer. This is just variants of what originally was thought by the Norse. The Norse belief was that, which was they had the Northern Lights at this point, at this time of the year, and they believed it to be Odin doing it. They call it Odin's night ride, and they believed that that night he would basically conduct like a night ride across the sky on his horse, and he would lead a, basically punish, like, then it kind of came up to this belief that if you were bad and leave like tribute to like offerings, then you would be punished through like either actual harm or bad luck, basically, or bad fortune. If you did do these things, you would get good fortune throughout the year. And then it started into the whole gift giving.
Yeah.
Parents would give their kids gifts. They would start giving gifts throughout the people. Then after the Roman Catholic Church took over, or well, not took over, but took the holiday basically, they kind of went all out on the Christian aspect of it, but obviously there was a lot of people still believed in the gift giving aspect of it. So it kind of morphed into, they chose Saint Nicholas. Then Saint Nicholas, he kind of was. There was some parts of like Eastern Europe that believed in also like a second counterpart. Basically, like if you think about it, it's almost like split. Well, Krampus, right? It's almost like they split Odin in two. Like, here's the good side, and then like here's the little evil shadow side, and they kind of split them in two.
I've noticed this about, don't take this personally, about a good chunk of Christianity that, they can't, when they're talking about outside of Christianity, it's kind of like life itself and stuff like that. It's people don't want to take the good with the bad of things. Like, people are like, oh, you're a good person, you're a bad person, Santa Claus can't hurt people, so obviously he needs some evil person to hurt people. Krampus.
Well, yeah, I see that in the case, but I think it was more so they wanted to make it more of a demon aspect because it was supposed to scare the children at the time. At this point, a lot of it was mostly for the kids in itself, or mostly older beliefs that were kind of being weaned into the whole conversion, basically. He kind of faded out really quick. And they instead of like being punished on a physical note, because because Krampus would come along, put you in a burlap sack, and like beat you with reeds, and like shake his chains at you and stuff. And then yeah. So instead of like becoming that harsh of a punishment, the lump of coal that kind of came in there. So if you're bad, you're on the naughty list, and then that was pretty much
was weird given the time period because I mean, if you were like a poorer family, that would be helpful.
Right.
If you're stocking full of coal, it'd be great.
Right. So, so then when it came over to where Santa Claus came from is because when Protestants separated from Catholicism, they wanted to get away from the whole Saint Nicholas thing or old Saint Nick. So Santa Claus was kind of intertwined in that. So that's where Santa Claus came from. And then that's what kind of came over to America. So that's why Santa Claus is more predominant than Saint Nick. But he's got names all over. But that's the main split, basically, where that kind of came from.
You know what I've never understood about the Santa Claus movies? The parents never believe in Santa Claus, right? Where the fuck do they think those gifts come from?
What is it?
In Santa Claus movies, like movies with Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is real in those movies.
Yeah.
The parents never believe in him. Where the fuck do they think those gifts?
Yeah, I never got that either. Yeah, I was always wanted that too. I think that there's actually a good, speaking of a good holiday film, if you want to watch it, it just came out. I think it's a Netflix original film that just came out. It's called The Christmas Chronicle.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Santa Claus movies. I think it's the same guy.
I like it because it's kind of like there's adults that believe, and they actually keep track of that, like adults that believe and like kids that believe. I think that's kind of a cool aspect, and I like they kind of brought him back to his like Norway kind of like feel to him. Like he's definitely Nordic and very and he's kind of went away from that whole like soft and cuddly like, yeah, I'm Santa Claus, but I got rough edges. I kind of like that. They kind of went that style. And Kurt Russell's, and I've always been a really big fan of Kurt Russell. So, getting back on track, that's basically where a lot of those traditionals come from. I mean, the red suit symbolizes, like it's a part of the pagan or belief as well. There's remnants of that, and there's also remnants of like the burning of the Yule log. That's obviously Yule. The reindeer that's just something that kind of got changed into it. It was really like his actual night ride. That was pretty much what that was representing. The tree's interesting in itself. The tree was Germanic tribes. I mean, obviously, because it was all Germanic tribes at the time anyway. But that was something that was brought over as well. Wasn't really that popular until later, to be honest. It's actually more of a recent thing. But it was used in the pagan belief in Yule as well. They believed as protection. It was a symbol of power, a little bit of masculinity as well. So we kind of know where that's kind of going. But,
yeah, we might have an X-rated Christmas special for that.
Right. Well, we'll get at that. So next time you're around a tree singing "Old Christmas Tree," there's a whole other meaning behind that. But
yeah, to be honest, I don't think we're putting up a tree this year because we're going to be probably going to my aunt's for Christmas.
Nice.
So, but do you have anything else?
Oh no, I mean now Christmas has become a pit of consumerism. Now Christmas has become a pit of consumerism.
Yeah. I will say that I'll leave it on this note. I personally hate when people try to force me to say Happy Holidays.
I think the problem. I agree with you fully on that. I don't believe in excommunicating. That almost sounds horrible, but I don't have a problem with other holidays of this around this time period. But when I'm saying Merry Christmas, I'm talking about the season of like that's this season right here. But you also have Hanukkah, so if they're of that, obviously we never had a problem before about saying Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holiday. And in fact, there was actually a greeting that used to say that Happy Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. But I mean, I know there's other holidays out there as well, and I diss them when I say Merry Christmas. I don't see why anybody would say that. But the main holiday from all the way back from the beginning, all the way till now, may had a different name. It was Yule all the way up to Christmas, and now, I mean, that's just what we got now. So you can fight it all you want, but it's Christmas.
Well, like Christians, Jewish people have been around for centuries.
Well, they've been longer than Christians, obviously, because that's where the Abrahamic religion.
But the thing I don't understand, it's not the Jewish people that are throwing a bitch fit because we say Merry Christmas. It's people who don't believe in anything.
Yeah, seculars.
Here's the thing, and I've talked this before on many different platforms. I don't really practice religion at all. If I didn't have a family, I would not celebrate Christmas in the slightest. And in celebration of Christmas, all I'm going to do is spend time with my family. There's no other attachment to it. But here, like, if someone says Merry Christmas to me, I'm not going to be offended, like, fuck off. Like, it doesn't bother me. And, if you celebrate something different, then celebrate that. And if someone says Merry Christmas to you, the polite thing to do is just to say it back, because obviously they celebrate Christmas.
Right, yeah, that's how I would take it too.
Stop being a selfish little twat and stop making everything about you.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I mean, that's how I would take it as well. It's like, okay, they celebrate Christmas, I don't. But I totally agree with you that it is usually the seculars that kind of.
It's the same as I've seen this go around too, and I agree with it. And it's like, if someone says, if you're going through a hard time or like something's happening and someone says they're gonna pray for you, don't scoff at it, because like obviously that means something to them, and that's the highest thing they think they can do. So I mean, just accept it. Like, fuck. I mean, what's the difference between prayer and good vibes? I mean, like, what do you want from them? They can't fix your problem. Like, don't freaking put them down for what they believe just because they're trying to help you in their way. Like, if you say Merry Christmas to someone and, they get snippety and say it back, well, I mean, you just ruined my happiness towards you. Like, fuck off. Now I'm not going to say jack shit to you. You think I'm going to respect your wishes? You're an asshole when I say Merry Christmas? I know.
And another thing is, if I say Merry Christmas to somebody and they don't say it back, I'm not going to be offended they didn't say it back either.
Yeah.
It's a two-way road on that too. Because I've seen a lot of like press back from the other side as well. From there is an attack on Christmas, but yet there isn't at the same time. I don't get the whole kind of like trying to wash it away type of deal. It's definitely a human. Like I said, it's not just a Christian religious holiday. It's kind of just how we all kind of got together as people generally.
Right,
So,
my stepdad's a atheist, my mom's a Wiccan, and my sister's a Christian, and I believe in nothing, and we all kind of, celebrate Christmas together.
Right, because it's like I said, the root of it is just to get you're coming together as family, friends, people generally. I mean, that's kind of how human intent should be. Is why try to take that away? But, I don't know. To me, there's just too much of a fight on it.
So there's one last thing I want to put out there. I'm guilty of this. I don't know if she's guilty of this, but I'm pretty sure he's guilty of it. Pretty much anyone who is American is guilty of this, and this is expecting presents on Christmas.
I did when I was a child.
I mean, I still do, but we have to look at the bigger picture here. Christmas isn't about giving, or it's not about getting, it's about giving.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a lot of people forget that. They forget to give. They take and take and take, but they don't give anything back.
I think that's something to do with the parenting these days. The reason is because when you're younger, yes, you get gifts from like Santa Claus or your family and stuff, but you also back like when I was younger that we couldn't buy gifts, so we would make gifts for our family members, like our mom, dad, stuff like that, or like cousins, aunts, all that jazz. And I think if a lot of people are just kind of just throwing gifts at kids, and they don't make them kind of get in the festivities of doing the giving aspect, so that never becomes ingrained into their being. So they're just always expecting things, never willing to give anything. So I think that's something that needs to kind of be brought into like kind of bring that to like there's two ways. Like getting is always fun. I mean, who doesn't like to get things? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Huh?
I don't like to get things.
Do you like to get things? I don't know. It's like I don't know. It's like winning stuff, but
Well, I this is gonna sound really rude coming out this way. I think the reason that she doesn't like getting things and people from like Canada and the UK and all that, the reason they don't like getting things is because they're raised on a different principle than what Americans are.
I don't like the attention. I can tell you right now why I don't like receiving things. Like, if someone gives me something and I can open it on my own, it is a much better experience than opening it in front of them. Because of the fact of the way that I was raised, it was if you didn't like something, you can't show the other person that you don't like it.
Yeah.
And that's always really fucked with me because I'm like, if I open this and I hate it, like I have to pretend that I'm okay with it. Like I can't actually show my opinion towards it, and then it just gets shoved in the back of my closet forever. Which was never really stopping the problem because I'm a pretty easy person to get to know, but it just kind of like been ingrained in my head, and then they're like watching you, and I'm like, if I don't have a big enough reaction to this, like I don't know how they're gonna react to it. Like, then you'll put it in socks. You're like, yay! And they're like, why are you so excited for socks? And I'm like, as a build up in my head, man. Actually, I just really like socks.
When I was younger,
I know what you're saying. I mean, but that's the same thing I was taught. Like, my aunt and uncle, right? I loved them to death, and they would when they would get us gifts, they would get us stuff from like the Sharper Image or something like that, from little catalogs or whatever here or there. I don't know if it was Sharper Image, but it was something in that general idea. And it wasn't like the most it thing out when I was a kid. I mean, now I probably like it more so than I did then. But even when I opened it, I always like it was the best thing I ever got because that's what you did. You showed. It makes somebody feel good when you get something from them, and it's like you like it. It's like something you're going to use, whatever. And that's that's what I've always been. I try to ingrain that into my kids. It's like I don't, whatever you get, you show respect for that. That's. Yeah. It's not so much about the gift. It's really about the thought, and that's something kind of get in there.
See, I can't remember too much from when I was younger, but I can tell you this: when I was younger, I loved getting stuff for Christmas. Stuff I really didn't need, like electronics, and I still enjoy getting electronics. Like I hope I get the $1,200 computer that I want, but if that doesn't happen, that's fine. But one thing I've always loved as I got older was receiving socks or cologne. And that's it.
I have two things left, and one is the funny story relating to this, and it's my mom got me the bouncing Tigger when I was a kid because I loved Tigger, and she thought I was going to be so excited about it, and I was terrified of this thing. And then I opened it, like, she wishes she had a video camera for this because I opened socks and I ran around the room being so freaking happy because I had socks. I think it was for a birthday. I don't really remember, but yeah, I don't know. But my other thing is going back to the Santa thing. Then I'm done. I'm tired of talking about Christmas. And it's a post I saw on Facebook, which I can kind of heavily relate to as being a child who grew up with significantly less money than my peers, and that is that gifts from Santa Claus should be kind of like generic normal things. Like mittens or socks or something like that. Because how do you explain to a child? You can explain money to a kid, but how do you explain to a child Santa discriminating, giving a kid an iPad and giving you mittens? Like, make big, expensive things from you, not from some mystical deity.
I agree with that as well, because it's like,
if I ever get cursed with children, and I say cursed, if I ever get cursed with children, that's what I'm doing.
Well, the only way you're ever going to have children is if I slip.
Gross.
Little too
Merry
far.
Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
But no, I agree with them because, like, when I was younger, yeah, I believed in Santa Claus, but as I got older, that belief kind of went away. Like, don't get me wrong, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I don't remember much from last year. I don't remember a lot. I really don't. But if I remember correctly, I think my grandparents and my mother, I think they still do write Santa Claus on it just for shits and giggles.
I believe in Santa Claus. Not the actual, like, person going from house to house every night and whatever. I believe in the spirit of Santa Claus. I believe in what he represents.
Yeah.
But
I will tell
maybe
you this, though. I'll tell you this. I can tell you exactly what I got last year for Christmas. That was the tackle box and a fishing rod, and I was fucking ecstatic because you can ask her and you can ask him how much fishing I did towards the end of last year.
But that's not all you got for Christmas.
Huh?
That's not all you got for Christmas.
Well, no, I got a $900 iPhone.
Wow, you forgetting about me? What I gave you?
Oh yeah, you gave me.
Giant package.
Oh yeah, actually, I have that right here. I actually moved
Anyway,
it.
that's the point. Like,
But she gave me a lot of stuff too. Stuff that I cherish. I had a Joker necklace. I don't wear that too much anymore because my paint started falling out of it. And also got this key that actually goes to one of her collars.
it actually fits all my locks, but no point. Anyway, Are we done?
Yeah, we're done. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below. Don't forget to... what the fuck am I doing? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to S13_TheBeast. And don't forget to subscribe to Tarot Storm. Anyways, guys, this is Storm Family signing out.
Merry Christmas.